But afterwards, I was willing for the common good to enlarge myself in dark and abstruse sentences, declaring the future events, chiefly the most urgent. Michel Nostradamus, March 1555.
Nostradamus wrote down over 1,000 predictions, and there are experts who believe that over half have come true. The most startling deals with 3 powerful and tyrannical leaders, men he called antichrists.
He called these antichrists because he didn't have any other name for them. But he meant people that would do horrible things against humanity, against people. The first antichrist was Napoleon.
An emperor will be born near Italy. He will cost his empire very dearly. They will say that from the people that surround him, he will be found less a prince than a butcher. From a simple soldier, he will attain the empire. From a short robe, he will attain the long.
Born in Italy, Napoleon did in fact begin in the short robe of a soldier, then later took on the long robes of an emperor.
This seems to have been a window time frame that he was particularly interested in. And there are a number of verses, particularly that even name Napoleon and describe his career as rising and falling to a great degree of accuracy.
For 14 years, he will hold the tyranny.
Indeed, Napoleon's reign of war and terror began in November of 1799 and lasted 14 years and 5 months, when he was exiled on Elba in April of 1814. The second of Nostradamus' antichrists was Adolf Hitler, though Nostradamus referred to him in his quatrains as Hister.
A captain of Greater Germany will, by his speeches, seduce great numbers. The most part of the battlefield will be against Hister. They shall subjugate the borders of the Danube. They shall pursue the crooked cross of iron.
Nostradamus talks of Hister, H-I-S-T-E-R, the German of the crooked cross, the captain of Greater Germany, who shall come from Poland through feigned force. Now, if you can tell me anyone else called Hister or Hitler who gets into Poland, this captain of the crooked cross, I'm asking you a lot. It obviously was Hitler.
Hister, the enigmatic name that he uses, is a play on the ancient name for the Danube River, the Hister. This is the river that Hitler grew up playing next to, dreaming his dreams of conquest.
Nostradamus' third Antichrist has yet to appear. Still, his record remains impressive. Many think the verses of Nostradamus foretold the French Revolution of 1789, 234 years before it happened. His quatrains describe in lurid detail the executions by guillotine of Marie Antoinette and King Louis XVI.
Paris was never in such great disorder. The republic of the great city with great harshness shall not permit exit to the king. Elected French king causes tempest, fire, blood, slice.
His opus, The Centuries, describes not only events in the future, but the methods he employed for divination.
I extend my hand, holding the rod of branches. The answer comes to me as my arm trembles.
One of the very first quatrains that is given in his book, The Centuries, actually talks about him sitting and using what he calls branchos, or the branches, holding them in his hand, and there being a movement within the branches and within his hands. This sounds very much like he was using a form of dowsing.
It was through methods like this that Nostradamus may have foreseen the British adventures in the New World, only just discovered in the years before his birth. In several quatrains, he is said to have written about the British colonists striking out on their own in a war for independence.
The West shall be free from the British Isles.
There are many of his verses and also his prose writings where Nostradamus describes America, not only in terms of it being a colony, but also eventually being a free land, what he called the land of liberty. And he mentioned it by name in two of the verses.
Nostradamus wrote of people he could never have guessed at, places that at his time didn't even exist. Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963.
The ancient work shall be accomplished from the roof. Evil lighting shall fall on the great man. Being dead, they will accuse an innocent man of the deed, the guilty one hidden in the misty woods.
Some of Nostradamus' most significant prophecies deal with the assassination of the Kennedy brothers. One alludes to the first Kennedy, John Kennedy, the president, being killed by a thunderbolt in broad daylight. And indeed, the shots from the book depository building did hit him from the sky.
Nostradamus wrote these verses in an upstairs study 400 years ago about a country not yet born 3,000 miles away. Many believe his visions reach even further. It is hard to imagine that the prophecies of Nostradamus were actually written in the 16th century, a time radically different from our own. Still, his predictions defy explanation.
Some of the most startling predictions of Nostradamus dealt with these mechanical and technological inventions of our time.
They will see the pig-like half-man, noise, shouts, battles seen in the heavens.
He couldn't understand them. He had no words in his language to describe them, so he had to refer to them with things that he knew.
He shall go out in an iron fish, thrown upon the shore by a great wave. It shall be as a barn under the sea, its strange form wild and horrifying. From the sea its enemies soon reach the walls.
There is one fascinating verse that speaks about a certain person stepping down and placing their foot on an alien soil, which he says is on the corner of the moon.
In the heavens shall be seen a running fire with long sparks. He will come to take himself to the corner of Luna, where he will be taken and placed on alien land.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Nostradamus may also have predicted that all such exploration would not be successful.
9 will be set apart from the human flock. Their fate will be sealed at the moment of their departure, separated from judgment and advice. Kappa, Theta, Lambda, banished and scattered.
Kappa, Theta, Lambda, mixed in an anagrammic form, create the final word, Morton Fiacol, the company responsible for building the solid rocket boosters. And as we can see in those terrible pictures of the Challenger, the scattered debris falling trails to the sea, they indeed were scattered.
Scholars of Nostradamus believe he